You said some things about Kyler Murray. You did some research. Tell us what you found on Kyler Murray.
Well, the interview was talked to multiple teams. It wasn't very good. I'm not going to give you details because that's confidential, but the board work where you test the guy on knowledge and potential things he's seen in the NFL was not very good at all. Okay, it seems like he's an instinctive, reactive player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you could call it street football, right? But obviously he's very good at it. You know, the tape is very good.
Right.
A lot of great things in the tape. And, you question his leadership ability, you question his work ethic. Those are the things that came out of the interviews. And it was multiple people.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't just one team. So to me, he failed the interview. Now, I can tell you other quarterbacks have gone to the playoffs and won that failed their interview at the Combine.
Tell us.
The whole key is the team's ability to adapt to what this player does, and then the player's ability to focus in and work hard. Football-wise, and I did too, you're going to have to figure out what Mahomes did, a little bit of Russell Wilson, and not so much Mayfield. Mayfield's from Oklahoma. But I said he's none of those guys when it comes to what appears to be leadership, work ethic, and the ability to understand and grasp a system. Now, again, I've seen guys who failed interviews that have won playoff games. So it's possible.
Who are some of the guys? Can you name names in the past that didn't do great in the interviews?
No.
Well, now, when you say he failed the interview, did your sources say, yeah, he failed the interviews? Or is that just your
No,
take?
that's my interpretation of what they said.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
I think you're being unfairly criticized by Florio, to be honest with you. I didn't understand his take. He was saying he wants you to name your sources or the number of sources or whatever. What you have any response to that?
I could care less. Okay?
Right.
What do I care about what people say? So, I first of all, am I going to name my sources? No. Is he going to name his sources?
Right.
No.
Right.
Is he questioning my credibility? Shame on him.
Right.
Do you have a history with Florio, or are you friends with him? Or
Twice I made him retract things he said about me in the same day.
oh wow,
Really?
That
so
doesn't
there's a
sound very
beef.
friendly.
So there's a beef.
Yeah, there is a beef.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. I'm reading this going, why is there a beef?
Yeah, he's bitter.
There's definitely tension there.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's the old Richard Nixon deal. You don't attack the message, you attack the messenger. Okay?
Right.
But and say, well, these people said he had an outstanding interview. He's going to be, he was great in his leadership. He showed great at work ethic. He knocked it out on the board.
Right.
Okay? The other quarterbacks I asked about were Haskins, Locke, and Jones.
Right.
Ohio State, Duke, and Missouri. Not in that order.
Right.
They all knocked it out on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm asking these people 4 quarterbacks. I didn't ask them about just one guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let me ask you about
Let
me ask you about the Baker Mayfield comparison.
By the way,
Yeah.
there's 2 other things that came up. One before, and one from baseball, and one from somebody who had knowledge of him at Texas A&M. And both of them, the baseball one, I'm going to be very vague on it, led me to believe the interview was going to be bad based on his experience with him in baseball. Okay? And I never touched that one, but he obviously, I'm calling him today and says, you were right. Okay?
Right.
And then the other one brought up, guy texted me last night about some experiences at A&M and said, hey, you got this guy. See, he does not have it, and et cetera. And I said, okay, fine. I'm just reporting what 3 teams told me.
Right.
Wow.
But I've also said, but I'm coming back on Friday, which I already said set up, and show how this guy can be a winning quarterback in the NFL at 5'10".
Right.
We'll get to that. Let me ask you about the Baker Mayfield comparison because they may play differently. Baker's not a guy that's going to run like Kyler Murray, but they're coming from the same offense. So it surprises me when you say he didn't have the same type of ability on the board and knowledge of the plays because he's coming from the same system. You talked about the tape. What did you see on the tape comparing Baker's year at Oklahoma and then Kyler's, both of them winning the Heisman?
Well, I'm not sure. I never said the board. I'm talking about not the same. I mean, the leadership part of it, work ethic, okay? That's what I perceive as being different from the interview based on things that were said. In reality, I would say Murray played better on tape than Mayfield. I thought that his pocket poise was a little bit better. But Mayfield was good now. Mayfield, the Senior Bowl is what sold me on Mayfield. Okay, I thought pocket poise was probably better. That was really the difference. But when you watch Murray on tape, and the guy's outstanding. He can make every throw, and he can do it from the pocket. Got a very strong arm. He's quick as heck. Outstanding runner. You see him make some scan the field things. On tape, I have no question this guy can succeed in the NFL, especially with what I'll show on Friday of what he can do and what teams are doing in the NFL right now. He's got to have the right coach and the right system. There are some teams that will not touch him because they don't want to get into that kind of a system.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to follow up on that. So your quote was, he better hope that Kingsbury takes him number one because this was not good. So if you were...
Meaning, as you go through it,
Yeah.
Tampa has kind of said they're not taking a quarterback. I do not see the Giants taking a 5'10" quarterback then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just
Right.
knowing the Giants. Jacksonville seems to be honed in on Foles. Okay, so now all of a sudden you're at Miami at 12, and they're totally an unknown.
Go to my
And
boys.
I don't think he gets past the Redskins, but maybe the Redskins go another route and decide not to go with a rookie quarterback.
Let's
So
just
based
trash
on-
him some more. Maybe he'll
based on-
slip to us.
Charlie, based on what you heard from your sources, then you did say you watched him on tape. He's very impressive on tape. But based on what you heard from your sources, if you were the GM of the Cardinals, would you take him number one?
If I got Kingsbury, yeah.
So
Depends on the coach.
Now, Kingsbury is I don't want to say this in it, but Kingsbury is a Steve Spurrier type pick.
Yeah.
Outstanding college coach, creative, innovative. But Spurrier won. Okay, this guy hadn't won. Right?
I don't know if that's a great comp for
That's
Kingsbury.
right. He goes 5-7 every year.
Right, Spurrier won at Duke, see?
Right.
So Spurrier was a Hall of Fame college coach. This guy isn't a Hall of Fame college coach.
Right.
Not
Okay.
even close.
So so if you go on that route, the creative, young, innovative guy, you got to go with his quarterback. You can't force another quarterback on him, Rosen.
Mhm.
See?
Mhm.
So to me, you got to take the guy, and whether you trade Rosen or not is immaterial because quarterbacks. So, and the only reason I trade him is because Rosen's attitude may be a problem.
Yeah.
But if that wasn't a problem, shoot, I'd keep them both. It didn't cost that much. And do that.
Charlie, from what the people told you about Kyler in his interview, is it an immaturity thing? Is it just he thinks he's hot S? Or I'm wondering, like, how do you do on a Wonderlic? Is it an intelligence thing? Like, what's the story? What's the root
I don't
of
know.
the
I don't know
issues?
what his Wonderlic test is. I haven't found that out.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate on trying to draw conclusions on those areas without being in the room.
Yeah.
I just know the specific things they said to me, which I can't say, and the general things they said to me.
People you spoke to.
Yeah, of all the teams I talked to, yeah, it was more than two.